Hey guys, and welcome back to Baddie and a Book. My name is Gabby, and today we have another book haul. So let's get right into it. The first book I picked up is called Single Black Female by Tracy Brown. I did go ahead and pick this up from Target, and from what I gather, it follows 4 different characters and their stories. I'm assuming surrounding them being single black females. It is actually blurbed by Ashley Antoinette, which, if you don't know, she actually wrote the Butterfly series, which is another book that I hauled in a previous book outlet haul if you watched that. The next book that I picked up is called Girl, Woman, Other by Bernardine Evaristo. Now, this one follows a group of Black British women, and it seems to be that there's a lot of variety in these characters. So we have a lesbian playwright, non-binary social media influencer, along with a few others, which I love that representation for that. This is a thickie. She's a little bit of a thickie, and I'm not 100% sure about what this book is about. I just do know that this is surrounding Black womanhood empowerment, I'm assuming, just based on the synopsis of the book and also the blurbs that I see kind of around the book describing the book. So that is the second book that I picked up. So the next book that I picked up is called Orphan House by Anne Bennett. Now, this one is a very interesting one. So this one actually takes place between 1934 and current day, and it follows 2 women, one by the name of Connie and one by the name of Sarah. And essentially, they are connected to this orphan house in some way, shape, or form. And they are trying to unravel the details as to how they are so connected. They are more connected than they think they are, than they know they are, according to the synopsis of the book. So I thought that the premise of this book was so interesting, I just had to pick it up. And it was a really affordable price as well. I think it was even on sale. So the next books that I picked up are a series. Now, this one I got secondhand, and it is the Winter in Paradise series by Ellen Hildebrand. Now, this one is very interesting. I only read the synopsis of the first book. When I found out that there was other books in the series, I just went ahead and picked up the other ones without having to read the synopsis because I did not want to spoil if there were any details in the second and third synopsis. I have the Winter in Paradise, which is the first book. I have What Happens in Paradise, which is the second book, and then the last book is Troubles in Paradise, which is the final book in the series. And essentially what's interesting about this book is that it follows a woman by the name of Irene, and she tragically gets a phone call, or she unfortunately gets a phone call advising that her husband has passed away after a tragic plane accident while he was away on a business trip. So she travels to the island of St. John, which I believe is where the crash took place, if I'm not mistaken. And essentially, she is there to try to unravel the details surrounding his passing. And while she is there, she also uncovers some truths about her husband and the second life, or the mysterious unknown life, double life that he was living in St. John. So I'm really excited to read those. I've heard a lot of things about Ellen Hildebrand. And honestly, even though this is like a beachy vibe because it's at St. John and all of the covers are summer themed, this might be a good book to read in the fall time. I don't know. Maybe I might get the urge to want to pick it up here in the next month or so. The next book that I picked up is called The Right Swipe by Alicia Ray. Now, this one follows a girl by the name of Ree. She is heavily into dating. She does dating apps and things of that nature. She ends up meeting a man by the name of Samson, who is a former pro ball player. And essentially, they hit it off. They have a great night. He goes ghost, and then Ree pops up a month later. And so it's giving second chance romance. He is trying to get back with her, and she is essentially a little bit skeptical about it because of her being ghosted the first time. So I'm wondering if this book will go into detail as to why she was ghosted. It is just from her point of view, so we don't ever get his point of view in the book, but I've heard really good things about this book and I'm excited to read it. Now, the next book that I picked up is heavily talked about on BookTube. everywhere, and that is Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. We all know this is a rock star slash band romance. This will not be a book that I pick up anytime soon, just merely because of the fact that it is talked about so much, and I want to let the hype die down a little bit so I can forget about some of the details of the book before I do pick it up. But I thought I would go ahead and pick up this book to add to my Taylor Jenkins Reid collection. She's another author that I want to collect all of her books eventually, so I went ahead and picked that up. The next book that I picked up is called Black Girls Must Die Exhausted by Jane Allen. If you watched my book outlet haul, you will see that I had hauled the second book as well. I bought this one before I purchased that one, but I forgot to mention it in a haul, so I'm gonna go ahead and mention it now. But essentially, I love the cover of this one. I love the cover of the second one. It's giving. I absolutely love it. I had to pick it up. I think I ended up getting this from like Target or something. This one is called The Geography of Lost Things by Jessica Brody. Now, this one follows a girl by the name of Allie, and essentially her dad passes and leaves her this vehicle that is a stick-only vehicle, and so she gets an offer on the vehicle and decides to go ahead and sell that vehicle. However, the vehicle is stick, and she doesn't know how to drive stick. So the only person that she knows of that knows how to drive stick is her ex-boyfriend. They meet up. It sounds like things get a little bit, maybe not uncomfortable, but they get a little tense because of how they broke up the first time. They rekindle that, and it seems like it's giving second chance romance vibes on this road trip to go get the vehicle sold. So I thought that would be a really cute book to pick up. Maybe not a full-time book, maybe like in the springtime, because you know, road trip vibes. But yeah, that one is a really cute book, and I haven't heard too many things about that book, but when I did look up the reviews on it, it did have pretty good reviews. The next book that I picked up in another popular BookTok BookTube book is called Reminders of Him by Colleen Hoover. It is her most recent release, and with all the hype surrounding all of her other books, she's an author that I want to collect all of her books eventually as well, so I just went ahead and picked that one up. And then we have If He Had Been With Me by Laura Nowlin. Now this book follows a girl by the name of Autumn, and essentially it's giving second chance romance. Autumn and Finn, they used to be together and used to be like besties or whatever. They go to completely ignoring each other. Autumn even has a new boyfriend. She moves on with somebody else, and then they somehow reconnect, as far as what I'm able to see from the synopsis. Not the cereal box in the background. Alright, anyways, the next book that I picked up is another Taylor Jenkins Reid book. This one is called Forever Interrupted, and essentially it's giving insta-love, but also not so insta-love, and then grieving. So this one follows a girl by the name of Elsie. She meets her significant other, Ben. They fall instantly in love. They get married and all of that, and then he dies. Which is not funny, but it's funny. They get married and then he dies. But essentially it follows her as she meets her mother-in-law for the first time, and they both go through the grieving process. This is not a really talked about book from Taylor Jenkins Reid. It's something that I hardly ever hear about. It is one of those books that like people pick up where they're like, oh, I read every other Taylor Jenkins Reid book, and now I kind of want to read, you know, this one because I never hear about it, but I saw that it's hers and it's the only book I haven't read. So unfortunately this one is one of those books that are kind of like like the last person picked for your team type of shit or whatever, you know. So but I thought I would go ahead and pick it up. I like the cover. I like these newer covers that they have changed a lot of her books to, because I don't think that this is the original cover of the book, but I'm getting close to owning almost all of her books. The next book, oh my gosh, so this one was very hyped, and one of the very few books that are Black literature that is actually mentioned on BookTok and BookTube. There's a lack of representation there, at least in my opinion, but this is one of the books that had been recommended and was talked about a lot on BookTube, and that is Such a Fun Age by Kylie Reed. This one follows two women. One woman, she's a white woman, the other one is a Black young woman, and essentially it's Alex, she is the white woman, and then Amira is the young black woman. Amira is Alex's babysitter. So Amira one day is out and she is watching her 2-year-old son, or she's watching Alex's 2-year-old son, and she gets accused of kidnapping the baby. I've heard really good things about this book, and I'm pretty sure that this is considered a YA novel, but it is also blurbed by so many authors. It is blurbed by Emma Straub, it is blurbed by Jess Walter, Chloe Benjamin, Jojo Moyes, and even Taylor Jenkins Reid, which I love that for her. So I'm excited to pick this one up here soon. Probably, I say this in all of my videos, I really do, because when I see the synopsis of the books I get excited, but then I end up buying more books and then there's no guarantee as to when I'm gonna pick this one up. But I am excited to read this one whenever I get a chance to read it. Now, the next book that I picked up is a throwback from the 90s, baby. But I saw this in Goodwill, I believe it was. I saw the cover and I fell absolutely in love with it. This is Tina McElroy Ansa's The Hand I Fan With. This one was actually written and published in 1996, which I love that. I love being able to pick up literature from back in the day. And essentially, this one, it follows grieving. So it follows Lena. She's going through a period of grieving, and also there's some romance in here. But it's pretty much surrounded by grieving and romance, and her desire for companionship again. So I'm excited to pick this one up. Again, the cover is absolutely stunning. I love that. I wish the sticker would come off, but it was a thrifted book, so I'm not even mad at it. It's still in really, really good condition. This book is damn near 20 years old. Think about that. And it's still looking good. Like, can't even be mad about that. The next book that I picked up, now I hauled this one, I unboxed and hauled this one in my Amazon unboxing video that I did, but I didn't go into detail in the synopses of those books because there were so many books in that video. But I got The Love Songs of W.E. Du Bois by Honorée Fanonne Jeffers, and this book, it essentially follows a young girl's story in the South. She kind of discovers more about her ancestry, her family, her heritage. This one is one that I feel like I wanted to go into as blind as possible, so I didn't focus so much on the synopsis of this book, because I've heard really, really good things about it. She is a thickie, as I've said before, 100% a thickie. Like, this is an intimidating read, but when this is one of those books that I didn't want to read too much about it. It's also not a book that I've heard very many people even speak about or talk about or haul about, so I'm kind of glad for that. This was merely a cover buy. I saw this one in Target, like I said before. I saw it in Target for the first time, and then I kind of sat on it, and the cover kind of kept speaking to me, so I did end up eventually picking it up from Amazon. And I also picked up 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. Now this follows two characters, they're two writers, Eva and Shane. It is giving second chance romance. They reconnect in the present time, and then it is told that they were together 15 years ago for a very brief period of time, and they kind of rekindle things and kind of go through the motions of that again. I will say that this is one of the few pieces of Black literature that is actually spoken about on BookTube. I see this one kind of frequently, but I've heard nothing but raving reviews about this. I don't think I've heard a single person say anything bad about this book. So this is something that probably would be more of a summer read for me, but I'd be breaking all the rules when it comes to when you're supposed to read books, or when I'm a mood reader, so I may be in a mood one day to pick this book up or pick a summery book up, and may end up actually picking this one up. So this one was also one I did not buy this brand new. I actually bought this secondhand, and it is in perfect condition, and not to mention, but this book is blurred by Jodi Picoult. So, and Jodi Picoult, that's my girl. That's like one of my favorite authors. And then, last but not least, and something that I'm extremely fucking excited about, because I got, oh my god, I'm trying not to drop these. I got these books for such a good deal. I think there's a total of 5 of these books here, and the box set of the series comes with not all of the books sometimes, and I think that they end up being like $50 for the full set, and I paid $15 for this entire set. and that is hold up, I'm trying to pick these up without dropping them. That is the complete Twilight series. Now, I got these secondhand, which is why I got them so cheap, and I did get some of these from secondsale.com. And actually, I think I got all of these from secondsale.com. I think I just picked up Midnight Sun in a different order than I did the rest of them. The only one that is kind of beat up a little bit, which I'm not even really mad about because I can always replace the dust jacket, is Eclipse. It has like a little bend here, but I also low-key like that the books are a little bit beat up because it gives them more of a nostalgic feel. I never read the Twilight series when I was in middle school or high school, but I do know that I've always wanted to have all of these books. Will I ever get around to reading them? I'm not 100% sure. I don't know, maybe I'll do it for content purposes. I can you know, make a video about it, me reading the books and then rewatching the movies. I did watch some of the movies growing up, I just never read the books, and even when I did watch the movies, I really don't remember a whole lot about them. But needless to say, for $15, I'm not mad. They look good on my shelf. I've always wanted to collect them all. Either way, I'm gonna add them to my collection and keep them for that purpose, just because there's just so much nostalgic around these books specifically. And I was really excited, really excited that I was able to get them for only $15 for all of them. Like, yes, add them to my cart. Please add them to my cart. Okay, so my camera is about to die, but those are all the books that I had for this particular haul. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.